Welcome everybody to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We are starting off the show today in Cheshire, Connecticut. We're going to introduce you to a woman who has turned her passion for animals into a multitude of careers. She's a dog breeder whose dogs have won every major title there is to win. She is a knitting designer whose books are bestsellers, and she is now a mystery novelist whose books are going off the shelves.
Well, I started in this crazy business when I first got a Samoyed. I got my 6-week-old puppy, and he turned out to be American, Mexican, international champion, best in show, best in specialty show, won the national, won everything. And even when he grew old and retired and whatnot, he worked in the school system I was teaching in, and he would come to school with me and work in special ed classes, doing therapy work with the children. And even the day he died, he was at their picnic, couldn't stand up, but he went to the picnic. He gave his whole career to bringing the dog breed to people and to children and to teach what loving dogs they are. That got me started, and I have been breeding and showing up until now, and I'm still at it. I have 2 now, Dylan and Quinn. Dylan is Quinn's uncle, and those 2 dogs are the 2 canine heroes in my book series. These are the Kate Calloy Mysteries, Suspense for the Dog Lover. I tell people when they ask what the books are like to think of Die Hard meets Best in Show. And the whole thing started when I wrote the first book, which is called Fashion Goes to the Dogs, because I, of course, took from my life and I made Kate a knitting designer, the way I had been for part of my career. And writing knitting books is how I started writing books. And Kate, because she is a designer, she has a talent of seeing patterns, and she notices things. And let's just say Dylan was a very good hero.
I love that. I love the way you have taken what you have learned throughout all of your years and brought it to your books. And this follows a career, almost like a second career you had in doing your knitting book, which was hugely successful.
I ended up with 12 knitting books. I would do them one for each breed. First was the Samoyed, then the Lab, then the Golden, and the Noof.
You did me a Bouvier sweater, which I still absolutely cherish. I mean, and so people could get from your books the pattern and make it for themselves.
Right. Well, this is my final knitting book that I wrote, which is called Knit a Kitten, Purl a Puppy. It's available on Amazon. But this is what I call my grandmother's book, because it's all children's clothing and things for kids, and all of the designs are of puppies or kittens. And
so that's right, we're not leaving cats out here.
Oh no.
They're absolutely beautiful. And your book series, and also you have your pillows there.
Yes.
And that comes from the books as well.
Yeah, these are the same thing. In fact, what I tell people when they get my designs are, if you want to put this exact same thing on a sweater, it's all gauged. So long as you use worsted weight wool, you can put the Roddy right here.
And also I want to mention, because you were on our Pet Talk show way back when, several times, we love you so much. And one of the times you did square dancing with a club with the dogs.
Yes, and the club has sort of retired because we were all about the same age. But the dogs are very smart, and what I would do is I would teach basic obedience. If it is done to the music, like Staying Alive or something like that, if you move him at a march and change it up, keep the dog interested, keep the dog happy.
And who would have thought we would see them square dancing?
Yeah.
That was a treat. Oh, I just love these guys. Come here, sweetie. They are so amazing. And when we come back, we are going to go from an amazing author, thank you so much, Peggy, to an amazing bookstore. We're traveling to Niantic, Connecticut. Stay tuned. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show is coming right back. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. As promised, we're at a bookstore, a fantastic bookstore. We're at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. This is the main branch, and they are pet friendly, and there's a kitty around every single corner.
The Book Barn specializes in being a place that has lots and lots and lots and lots of books but it also has an animal population, and I think sometimes the people come to visit us as often for the cats as for the books, and that's okay.
And you welcome dogs too.
And dogs, yes, we do ask if people bring dogs, we ask them to be on the leash just so that we don't have a scrap up, but the dogs are welcome. We try to keep treats as well and a water bowl down, and they come here basically as they're visiting a park. It's just a park with an awful lot of bookcases in it. And 2 goats as well. Before the shutdown, we were selling bags of carrots to feed them, and then people now are bringing their own.
Now this is such a marvelous spot. It's just like an animal lover and a book lover's delight. How did this start? I mean, it's huge.
Yes, well, the main barn has 2 floors and a basement. Randy White and his wife Mo, who are the owners and the managers, they took over the basement and started selling books. They had previously owned a pizza restaurant in New London, but they always wanted to do this. And so the people who owned what was then an antique shop being housed in the barn, they sold both the business and the property to Randy. And so one by one, he started filling up the place with books. He filled the main barn, then he filled the annex, then he filled the haunted bookshop back there. We built Last Page and filled that up. Around 2000, I think it was, the place burst its bounds and we had to open the downtown shop, which is right in the center of Niantic next to the cinema. And then that one eventually began to bulge at the sides. So about 300 feet up the road, we have chapter 3. And now basically it's sort of broken up along lines of topics. Different types of books, different subjects go to different parts of the barn. And so there's a pamphlet that we give out that shows you where things are. People who were real veterans of the barn will remember Bandit and Hershey, the 2 big dogs who were there for many, many years, who now have gone to the big kibble bowl in the sky. But right now here, I think there's 5 cats at this section, and then over at chapter 3, there are at least 3, maybe 4 cats who live there as well. And they just naturally become part of the place, part of the property.
And it's so delightful because people just roam around. There must be something for everybody here.
It's lovely. People come in and you just see impromptu conversations on everything from the trial of Charles I to the newest dog books and things like that. You never know what a conversation is going to be going on. And every once in a while you will see someone who has been taken prisoner by a cat. There'll be somebody sitting there with Evan Rood or somebody in their lap with no intention of ever moving ever again.
Let's talk about some that you might suggest for all of us pet lovers.
The last page, the building back there, is where we have all the books on earth and animal sciences. It's all sorts of stuff. I mean, there are, the sensible kind of reference books. My dog is making a peculiar noise. What does that mean? What do I do about it? And you get things like birds of prey of the world. And inevitably, if you have children, you know that you're going to need books on dinosaurs. This is actually a terrific book on South American dinosaurs.
Wow.
Yes, dinosaurs with Hispanic accents. People come, they come for serious books. The Dawn of Zoology, this is a famous book in the field. This is specifically a book on zoology in New Zealand. Really specific, really out of the way sort of things. But you get people who are just interested in certain types of animals. We get the horse lovers.
I'm a horse lover, I love that.
Oh, and then you need to talk to Lori, who works here, Julie. They're both horse owners and horse lovers. And, like Seabiscuit, the horse that made more money than you and I ever will in our lifetimes.
For sure.
The classics, like the James Herriot books, which still sell steadily. The veterinarian who lived in England for so many years. And inevitably, you get things from little small cats, and you get things on great big cats like Zamba the lion. That's a great book, as a matter of fact. And just what I'm reading right now. Ted Hughes, the English poet. A lot of people only know him now because he was married very unhappily to Sylvia Plath. An absolutely terrific, a great poet. And throughout his career, he did terrific poetry about every type of animal you can imagine. And another contemporary poet named Alice Oswald has put those poems together, and it's called a Ted Hughes Bestiary. A terrific book and terrific poetry. He gets so far into the individuality of each animal.
Oh, wow. Now, if people want to find you, how can they do that?
The Book Barn is just a few minutes off of Route 95. 95. We are really easy to locate. Basically take Route 95 from either direction to exit 72 and then turn left. We're going to be about 2 miles down that road, and all 3 shops are within a mile of each other.
People also sell their books. We're
Yes.
seeing that, yes?
That table over at the edge of the property there, that's where we buy our books. And of course, again, the main thing that we always like to emphasize, the books here are really cheap. Most of the hardcover novels are $4. The little pocket books are each $1. One of the great pleasures is watching people come in with children. You give that kid a $10 bill and 64 cents for tax, and that kid can buy 10 paperback books.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I love the program, by the way.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
so much fun to watch. Yes.
Thank you. I don't know about you, but I love to read. This is actually one of my favorite characters, Scooby-Doo. Stay tuned. We have a special anniversary to celebrate with you coming right up. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. We are in Erickson Park in Ledyard, Connecticut, and we have been invited to celebrate a very special event.
Yes, Lauren, we're so thankful that you decided to come and join us today. This is Troop 188 Day. We celebrate our troop on the 188th day of the year, which occurs this year because of the leap year on the 6th of July. We celebrate on the 188th day as opposed to our anniversary because our anniversary is in the middle of winter and snowstorms get in the way of having those celebrations, and Christmas and holidays. We already do enough celebrating at that time of the year, so we like to use the 188th day of the year to celebrate our troop and all the things that we do.
And you do so many things, and we need to tell people who don't know, and hopefully they do. You are Dog Scouts of America.
We abbreviated DSA Troop 188 for Dog Scouts of America. I think there's over 150 troops throughout the country, and there's a couple in outside of the United States as well, so we are international now.
And you welcome anyone to join.
Anybody, even if you don't have a dog, you can join, because we have a lot of people who come and join and learn about dogs and dog skills and dog handling skills, because we always have members that have multiple dogs, and so we can hand out a dog to somebody to practice with.
We saw so many cute ones here today. You have so many wonderful members, all different types and shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and they'll all do anything that they want to try. That's the whole premise of Dog Scouts, is we get to try things that may not be associated with our breed.
And we have a bulldog here who excels in agility.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love that it's not only fun because this is your picnic and your party, but it's also very informative too.
We do an exchange of information among our members. We have members who do everything from veterinary to trainers to just longtime dog owners and breeders in our group. There's always a good exchange of information. If somebody's got a problem, then there's usually a solution in the troop, or somebody's had the same problem before. So we always say, speak up, and then we'll try and figure out a solution for you. Today, one of the tips we talked about was checking pavement and other surfaces and how to do that to see if it was too hot for your dog to walk on it. We learned about putting the back of our hand onto the asphalt or any other surface before you walk your dog out there to see if it's too hot for your dog's paws. We talked about how to deal with your dog in the car during the summer. We all know how hot cars get and how quickly they get hot. There are things you can do to help your dog be more comfortable in the car, and Julianne is going to talk to you about that.
Hi, I'm Julianne Grove. I'm from Dog Scout Troop 188, and I'm actually going to show you some stuff that I use when I go to dog sports with my dogs to keep them cool in the vehicle. One would be something like this. This is actually a remote temperature monitor. The other half of this unit is in my car, in between my dog's crates, right where they are, and it tells me what the temperature is outside and the temperature in the car. Currently, it's 87 degrees outside where we are, but where they are, they're at 75 degrees, so they're nice and comfy in there. Another thing that we frequently use at dog shows are battery-operated fans, which my girls have one here, runs on battery, and this particular model has this hose here, which this sits on top of a 5-gallon bucket like what you get at Home Depot. The hose goes down into the water and it turns into a misting fan, which will actually drop their temperature more. People frequently use this if they have their dogs outside of the car, camping underneath a tent or awning, something like that. So the girls have a fan, they're nice and cool. They are in their crates. They actually you can see they both have a bucket of water. Another thing that you'll often see at shows is a shade cloth, one of these shiny silver things This one actually is big enough. It goes over my entire vehicle, covers the windows and the top of the car, actually will help keep the sun off of the car so that the car stays cooler on the inside. Also, frequently people will have signs on their car with contact info on it. My dog is not in distress. My dog is comfortable in their crate. If you believe my dog is in distress, please call me at this number. The remote temperature gauge is very, very useful, very helpful, and it's not very expensive. I got this one on Amazon for right around $30.
When the light goes down, there's a tournament sound. Jump, 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 turn around when the light.
That's a great tip. Also, we had some wonderful music here today.
Oh yes, we're very blessed. Two of our troop members, Trudy and Al, they have a duo they call High Tide, and they are singing their music that Trudy writes and composes.
Get the ball, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball.
And there'll soon be a special song coming out.
Correct. Trudy is working on a Dog Scout song. Hopefully we can debut it next month.
And you also had a really sort of special event here. One of the members you actually interviewed about her wonderful Phantom.
The book Phantom's Journey was delayed in publishing because of the COVID, but the copies came off the press and Michelle brought a copy here today to share with us. So I was able to sit down with Michelle and talk a little bit about the book Phantom's Journey and about Phantom himself. So Phantom is a member of our troop. He was one of our founding scouts, and he was one of what we call the most photographed scout in our troop. Every time he went someplace, somebody's camera caught him and it was posted somewhere, someplace.
Phantom was a Bernese mountain dog. He was our first dog, and we did amazing things with him, thanks mostly to Dog Scouts. We were able to do therapy work with him and go to nursing homes and hospitals and schools and libraries. A lot of therapy visits, about 749 before he passed away.
That's a huge amount of therapy visits. So he got awards from the AKC for therapy as well, right?
He did. He got their highest title, which I believe is excellent, Therapy Dog Excellent.
How did the book come about and who did the illustrations?
A wonderful high school senior named Eva Dale did the illustrations for her senior project. Friends of mine from work wanted to honor Phantom in some way, and they got involved with her, and it sort of snowballed from there.
So this is all about Phantom's journey and all of the people he touched.
The basic premise is that you don't have to be perfect to make a difference. He wasn't able to be a show dog, but he certainly made a difference in his 10.5 years.
How can people get in touch with you? You're always looking for new members, and it's really a wonderful organization.
Dog Scouts of America is a great organization. If there's not a troop in your area, you can certainly start one. If you'd like to join our group, we have no attendance requirements. You can get in touch with us by emailing info at DSATroop188.com or checking us out on Facebook or on our website, DSATroop188.com.
Stick around. When we get back, we're going on sort of a safari in Kent, Connecticut. Lauren's Crazy Pet Show is coming back right after this. Welcome back to Lauren's Crazy Pet Show. I'm in Larchmont, New York. Okay, follow me here. We're at my vet's place, which I absolutely love. I've been coming here for years, and every time I come here, I admire these beautiful sculptures on their lawn. And guess what? We just met an artist in Kent, Connecticut who makes amazing animal sculptures. It turns out he made these too, and you won't believe what else he's made.
Good morning, I'm Dennis Curtis. I'm here in Kent, Connecticut. I'm an animal person, which you might notice if you look around a little bit. And I think before the show's over, you will be inundated with animals.
All kinds of animals. I feel like I'm on a safari, Dennis. How did you start building these beautiful sculptures?
I first did wooden sculptures, and they have to be sold through a venue. And a gallery is going to take 50 to 60%. Being a cheap New Englander, I figured if I can come up with a system where I don't have to have a gallery, it will be different, and I can sell them much cheaper. And so I started this idea, and if you see them, they are a knife edge. If you look at a 650-pound elephant, and I will ask you, how wide is the top of his back? And you will say 2 feet. And I'll say, you're incorrect. It's 1/4 inch. And the only place you can see it if you look at him right from his butt going forward. Otherwise, you will never see that his back is that thin. And I started building these out of cardboard boxes and masking tape, and they seemed to work. And so I started cutting the metal, 1/8 steel. It's 1/8 thick, 3 millimeters.
And you weld them?
And it's all welded together. And I cut out all the pieces flat. They'll make just a flat pile that's 3/4 inch high, the whole thing. And then I start bending and twisting to make each one individual.
And how long does it take you typically to make something?
No idea. I don't keep track of time, and I sell them sort of by size.
There's just such a wide variety. How do you get your inspiration, Dennis? We're surrounded by beautiful elephants and a rhino, and there's dogs.
Most of the big ones started from Africa because we lived for 10 years right across the Red Sea from Nairobi. And so from 3 hours from where we were in Saudi Arabia, we could be in Nairobi. And we've been all across Africa, over to the west side.
And here, of course, people can come right to your garden and see them.
I do not have to sell anything. There's no sales pitch. And my accountant years ago said, "You are deadly." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "People walk in here and you walk away from them and just let them walk." People want to buy something when they see it. It's totally different if you're going to buy a car and you have to have it made in wherever it's made than picking it right off the lawn and taking it home and playing with it. And so I sell them right off the yard.
Wow.
The people can walk through anytime they want to, and I do not have to be here or be open. They're open gardens. Most people are leery of coming on private property, but we welcome people. We ask them not to walk behind the house because we have the dogs back there.
Beautiful.
And then Barbara has her gardens. This is a garden conservancy garden. And we just had, last weekend, we had the Mad Gardeners here. And if you want to take pictures of the fish, you're not going to believe them.
We have to go see those.
Because there's many sizes, and they're all born within a month or so of one another. And the fish recognize me.
Really?
If you walk up, they may come out. But if they see me, they say I'm hungry.
We have to say that you are a huge animal lover, obviously from your designs, but also you and your wife are very involved in rescue.
Barbara's Airedales, she's placed probably around 550.
Wow.
And if you ask any Airedale person in at least New England, if not the whole United States, if they ask about her name, they know who she is.
And you have rescue dogs. You said you have 4 now.
We only have 1 Airedale, though.
1 Airedale.
Yes, we have 3 dogs. The last dogs that we rescued were from the Connecticut Humane, and that was probably about 4 years ago.
If somebody wanted more information, Dennis, how could they find you? You're open here in Kent?
I'm here. The easiest thing to look up my name, and the wildest thing is we have a name for our property called Sculptured Ale, which if you spell it out is Sculptured Ale. Nobody uses it. We're the only people. If you put in Sculptured Ale, you get me.
That's fantastic.
There's nobody else in the world that wants the name.
That's so
It must mean something, but I don't know what.
And your gardens are beautiful too. Of course, I love all his work, but I have a soft spot for these. We would love to hear from you. If you have any story ideas, please write us here at lauren'scrazypetshow@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. We love getting your photos, and we love you tuning in. Thanks for joining us. This has been Lauren's Crazy Pet Show.